Hello, everyone. Doing a mic and video check. Can everyone see and hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that is a good thing. And now, one last check. See if I can get my screen up. Are you seeing a presentation screen?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yes.
All right. So again, one more check. This is Robert Ballou. I'm the Director of Economic Development and Diversity Compliance here at Broward County Public Schools. Can anyone see and hear me?
Yes, I can.
All
We
right,
can
cool.
see
Thank
you.
you.
Mhm.
With that, as we get started today, just wanted to thank you for taking this time to come and be with us for a mindfulness session in business. And before we get started, we want to settle down. We're not going to do a mindfulness exercise at this point of the presentation. That's going to be your homework. So pause and don't stress out about doing a mindfulness presentation real quick. So the very first thing we want you to do is just to pause. Simply pause. Don't breathe. Don't think about a meditation. Don't think about anything. Just pause and hang out there for another 15 seconds. Do absolutely nothing. Don't think about anything. Don't grab that phone. Just chill. All right. So thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be here for about 30 minutes, and then you'll have time to do some homework at between you and the 5 o'clock hour. So the first thing we just want to remind everyone is that we are the Economic Development and Diversity Compliance team here at Broward County Public Schools. And our goal is to grow the economic base of Broward County for the benefit of our students, families, and business community. So in that, that's our mission, I'm sorry, and our goals are to stimulate growth, i.e. raise money, increase opportunities that will result in increased money, and boost the economic base of Broward County that will be increased money available. So in our greatest dreams, when a student graduates Broward College that doesn't go to college, they will either have a job available for them here in Broward County because the economy is booming, they will be positioned to start a business or work for one of our certified suppliers. So it'd be a full circle. So from cradle to career here at Broward County Public Schools. So what are we here talking about today? We're talking about the mindful difference, the impact of running your business on purpose. So this is a quick agenda for today. I'll introduce myself as your facilitator. We'll talk about Heart, Breath, Mind as a book. And then we'll also talk about the heart breath as a practice, the 7 practices of mindful leader, your mind at work. We'll give you some resources and then we'll lead you to a mindful practice. So briefly, as your facilitator, just a quick background on me. I am the founder of a small nonprofit named Move to Meditate. We're a 501c3 that was founded to encourage mindfulness and martial vinyasa arts. For those of you who are wondering, I have been studying mindfulness and purposeful movement for over 30 years. I started in college as a martial arts student in a style of Wado Ryu, a Japanese based martial arts system that at the beginning and end of every class, we did a technique called Mukso, which is basically Japanese Zen meditation. I didn't know it was Japanese Zen meditation at the time. I don't even think my instructor knew it because none of us had researched it. We were just mimicking previous instructors as opposed to doing the due diligence. So about 10 years ago, I went on a quest to understand what exactly I was doing on a daily basis in that karate style after I've been doing it for 20 years. Bear with me, I'm a slow learner. And in that process of exploration, I discovered the power of mindfulness. And we're not even going to talk about true meditation. We're not going to talk about yoga or any of those things in this session today. We're going to talk about specifically just the act and process of mindfulness. And on the screen is one of my favorite Yoda sayings. I am a Star Wars aficionado, I'll say it that way. But a comment from Yoda, roaming all around the galaxy, you are, all over the galaxy. To be this, to be that, to be there and somewhere else, except this place where you find yourself, everywhere else you want to be. And what I would remind many of our business leaders is too often you are everywhere except the point of engagement right now. You're focusing on what you coulda, shoulda did yesterday in a conversation, and that focus on the past is creating depression, and or you're focusing on what you think you want to say next week at another presentation, and that focus on the future is creating anxiety. So we're reminding you in mindfulness, we focus on the now. So therefore, we don't focus on the past, so it helps keep us from depression. And we don't focus on the future, it helps keep us away from anxiety. It helps keeps us focused to all here and now. So the first research that we did for you. And this is a very research, fact-based presentation, which is why we won't be talking about meditation and or yoga or any of the more ethereal or we won't be talking about those. We're going to stay focused on fact-based research. Now, I say fact-based research within mindfulness in business because all the research that we're going to present to you is less than 10 years old. The two books were written like last year, and an article that we're going to show you, I think, was written 8 years ago. Now, keep in mind, breath work has been around since the first person was on earth breathing. So breath work is nothing new. Breath work in the East is nothing new. Breath work in America is relatively new. The first researched breath work in America was a book on resonance and heart resonance, but that was in 1975. So that would be relatively new. The book that I'm presenting to you here is The Heart, Breath, Mind, which was written just last year. And the major concept or presentation in Heart, Breath, Mind is a concept of heart, breath, resonance. And that is matching your heartbeat to your breath. So a basic and a traditional or common resonance frequency is breathing 6 breaths in the minute while your resting heart rate is 60 beats per minute. And to breathe those 6 beats per minute is say 10 seconds per breath, inhaling for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6 seconds. And we'll do it at the end of the class. But the concept of the heart rate, of the heart breath resonance concept is within the book that we presented to you. And everyone that's on this seminar will receive this PowerPoint presentation. And in the PowerPoint presentation, there's links to the research. So the book summary that I'm referring to, you can click on it and it will pull up the book summary so you can see for yourself. But within the summary, we pull out the if you will, the benefits of heart breath, or resonance breathing. And really it's about strengthening the barrel reflex of the heart as your heart rate changes, goes a little bit up and down, and your breath goes a little bit up and down. And as you're able to match your heart rate and your breath by getting down to a normal resting heart rate of 60 beats per minute, and pausing your breathing, inhaling for 4 breaths, and then exhaling for 6, you end up with less mind chatter and more control on your thoughts right now. It also helps you on your emotional regulation because it gives you time to feel what you're feeling. As also another real benefit, and we're going to talk about this when we get into the 7 practices of a mindful leader, that type of heart breath practice lets you start to feel and see what others are going through. So while you're able to manage your mood, you're able to feel and understand what other people are feeling, and that's what we'll say is empathy. So within the Heart, Breath, Mind book, it talks about a practice of a 20 minutes per day over 10 weeks. So throughout the book, the author goes through each chapter is preparing you for this 10-week practice. So if you want to call the book a quarter long or a 13-week seminar, that's basically what the book goes into. The first couple of chapters get you ready, and then the next 10 chapters are on each week, and then there's a conclusion chapter. So if you wanted to take a quarter long class and take June, July, and August as a summer reading series, Heart, Breath, Mind would be a perfect book for that type of 13-week reading. If you don't have the 13 weeks and you want to get it in 30 minutes or less, you can click on the book summary in the resource section and you'll get it all and you'll be able to receive it in 30 minutes or less. And what we just want to remind you that as a leader, your role is to inspire. But inspire not only means to motivate and encourage others, it also means to breathe for yourself. So I'm always reminded of the American Lung Association when I was a kid, had an ad campaign, nothing else matters when you can't breathe. And no matter what is going on in your life as a leader, if you don't have control of you, i.e., you don't have control of your breath, there is a very low probability you will have control of the situation. So that's heart, breath, resonance, and the heart, breath, mind, and that's the concept. So now again, at the very end of this seminar, we're going to actually practice, or we're going to give you tools so you can practice it on your own, and you'll have 15 minutes because I know you blocked off 4 to 5, and you'll have 15 minutes from 4:45 to 5 to practice a 2-minute session. So theoretically, you'll have ample time to, out of that 15 minutes, to do a 2-minute exercise. So now, as a leader, what are the 7 practices of a mindful leader? And this is where Ralph Waldo Emerson's comment of society is always taken by surprise by any new example of common sense. Well, these 7 practices are very simple to understand. However, they may be challenging to practice and deploy in your everyday life. So the very first thing is to love the work. And when we say love the work, love being present, love being engaged, and love being active. So the first, it's very difficult to lead if you don't love where you are. And when I say where you are, it's in the process of working with your team and on the project. So the first step is to love the work. The second one is to do the work. And this work is about a regular mindfulness practice. And so this is where we remind you about the heart breath, of connecting your heart and your breath and be in, if you will, true connectivity. The third one is one that I have been challenged with as my ego rises. Don't be an expert. It doesn't mean don't know anything, but it means approaching life with a willingness to learn. So you may think you know everything there was to know about astrophysics. However, by definition, there's always something new to learn in astrophysics since the universe is expanding. So there's always a point of ignorance as we look on the universal horizon. So don't be an expert. Understand that there's always something to learn and be willing to learn that. The fourth concept is connect to your pain. There was an old adage when I was a kid that was like saying no pain, no gain, meaning you have to endure pain in order for gain. Within mindful leadership, it's a different concept. It's of knowing pain and knowing gain, using the pain that you experienced while you weren't being mindful to know how to gain by being mindful. So it's almost like pain avoidance. So you experience pain by not preparing for the meeting, not having an agenda, not having a clear focus, and the meeting got away from you and all heck broke loose. Well, from that pain, you now take that knowledge and you go to the next meeting with an agenda, clear purpose. And if you don't have that, you just cancel the meeting and move on. And that is knowing your pain to create gain now. Fifth element is very difficult for many leaders, and that is connecting to the pain of others. Not feeling their pain, but having compassion that they are enduring pain, but helping them to understand and see their pain as an opportunity for gain, that they could minimize that pain in the future, i.e., don't make the same mistake twice. Depending on others, many leaders have a challenge with this as they believe that they have to do everything under the sun because no one can do it as good as them. Well, depending on others is the first step in cooperation. And the second step in engaging them, you can't cooperate and or engage with your team if they don't feel empowered. So depending on them and if you will, if your team has developmental needs, train them, but then allow them to do and to lead in that process. Understand that everyone in your team needs to have something that they own that they can be proud of, that they say, look what I did, right? And our job as a leader is to depend on them, cooperate, engage with them through empowering them to be their best self, thereby making the team better. The final element is making it simpler at every minute. And the most simple thing to do is ask what's important right now and then do that thing. As opposed to say, what could we do 60 days from now, 6 months from now? Well, that's complicated. What needs to be done now? And let's do that now, keeping it very simple in that process. And again, we give you a book summary that was written by a reporter who was interviewing the author of the book. And that was a Forbes article that you'll better click on and see the book summary, as well as avail yourself of the book. And then before I move on, just want to remind you that a mindful leader is an individual who can harness the characteristics of others. It's more about what the team is doing than what the leader is producing. So a different concept of the individual crash entrepreneur. Mindful leadership says team first. If mindful leaders' mantra would be, I'm loving the people, I'm managing the process, and I'm exploiting the platform. A non-mindful leader would say, I'm exploiting the people, and I'm managing the process, and I'm actually loving the platform. If you notice the difference, mindful leaders love the people, mindless leaders tend to love the platform or the software that they're using. Next, we have an article out of Mindful Magazine that answers a lot of the most basic questions. What does mindfulness practice look like while I'm at work? How can I use this in my daily life? And can you give me examples? One of the most basic examples is the last one on this particular page. And again, you'll get the link in the resources section so you can blow it up for you. But the most basic one is, I'm frustrated in my progress with me or with someone else. What can I do? Well, the most basic thing that we would say is to sit down for a minute. And in this scenario on in your mind at work, the chart that it provides says, listen to some music, an extended song. So not a 2-minute pop song, but a 3 to 5 minute long song. Just listen to that and get into the beat. Preferably a song that is a basic, more of a an R&B mellow tune, kind of old school R&B would be perfect because that has a beat that's about 60 beats per minute, which is about what we would like your resting heart rate to be, which would then allow you 3 to 5 minutes to hang out in the heart breath, and you could breathe to the beat, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6, while, your favorite singer sings a song of relaxation to you. And then at the end of that song, re-engage. And as you have let the frustration out of you and hopefully breathed in some inspiration that will allow you to see things differently. We also wanted to let you know that this mindfulness and leadership and mindfulness at work thing isn't some out of the park, we're bringing it, from a yoga studio to you. But no, this is in corporate America. So the seven practices of a mindful leader were, as you read the book, you'll realize that the seven practices were developed by Mark Lesser while he was at Google. Yes, before he was at Google, he was at a monastery, but he came to Google, and while working with engineers at Google, they developed the seven practices of a mindful leader. But mindfulness is also at Target, eBay, Twitter, even Ford from an old school standpoint, and Cargill all use mindfulness practices for their leadership to help the leaders move the organization in a more robust way. And this is the slide I was talking about for you with the resources. Each one of these blue links is a link to either the article or the either book summary / interview. And then for you that are in school, there's your reference, your your reference tab that gives you the actual citation of the article or the book for your records. But again, one article was from Mindful, the magazine, Heart, Breath, Mind, that's the book cover, and Seven Practices of a Mindful Leader, the other book cover. So we'll talk about your homework, and then we'll open up for questions, and then I'll allow you to do the homework on your own. But the homework exercise is really sitting down for 2 minutes. We give you a link to a YouTube video that plays music and counts down for 2 minutes. And what you're wanting to do is to sit comfortably. Take a couple of minutes before you even start the exercise so that you can be at rest. And then the goal, and I shouldn't even say that. There's not a goal. This is just a practice. So the practice is inhaling for 4 beats, and you can just inhale and count to 4, and exhale and count to 6. And when I say count, it's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. So count in the Mississippi counts because your goal is again, I apologize, I keep saying goal. The practice is to inhale for 4 counts, which eventually will be 4 heartbeats, and exhale for 6 counts, which eventually will be 6 heartbeats. So there you get where they call it the heart breath, because you are matching your breath with your heart. And I'm going to go back real quick. On the bottom right of this slide is a chart that shows your average heart rate going between 60 to 75 beats per minute, with your average breath rate going from anywhere from 5.5 to 6.5 breaths per minute. And that is the resonance wave that you're looking for. You're looking for really to be breathing. Every breath is an inhale of 4 heartbeats, and then an exhale for 6 heartbeats. And that's what we're looking for in terms of the heart breath. So we're suggesting within your practices, you do this heart breath. According to the author of Heart, Breath, Mind, she would want you to do that for 20 minutes a day, 10 weeks in a row. So 20 minutes a day, 10 weeks. Let me answer some of your questions. Well, I don't have 20 minutes. Well, if you don't have 20 minutes, my heart goes out for you in that 24-hour day. However, you can start as little as 5 minutes. What time works? Any time works. The most suggested times are 20 minutes before or after sunrise, 20 minutes before or after sunset, or 20 minutes before or after midnight or noon. So 20 minutes before or after 12, and then roughly 20 minutes before or after 6 a.m. and 20 minutes before or after 8 p.m., keeping in mind the 6 a.m. and the 8 p.m. time shift based on daylight savings time. So the old school was it was 20 minutes before or after 6, both sixes, and 20 minutes before or after 12, both 12s. So basically around the clock, do one of your 20 minutes during that time frame during the 10-week process. And with that, I want to pause and open up for any questions and or comments before we talk about your homework anymore. Do we have any questions? Everyone still awake over there?
Yeah, we're awake. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if we have no questions, I want to give you the gift of time. You can break it up. So can I break it up in between different sessions? So the answer is within your practice, you can do whatever serves you. Do what serves you. The prescription from Heart, Breath, Mind is specifically 20 minutes a day for 10 weeks, all at the same time. That's the prescription if you follow Heart, Breath, Mind. If you say, I want to do 5 minutes 4 times a day, and that is my practice, that is fabulous because therefore you have a practice. So any practice that serves you that you do is the best practice. That's the classic example of asking someone about my workout technique. When should I work out? Whenever you actually work out is the best time. So there is no best time for mindfulness practice, and you can do it whenever and however you want. The only techniques so hold on, let me make sure I get this right. So we have morning huddles, simple and quick technique. So if you want to do a group technique is just doing a 2-minute heart breath exercise. You can, literally use the YouTube video that we'll provide to you in the PowerPoint and play that for your group on the Teams meeting and have them do the heart breath, even if it's just for a minute. But many groups, it's not too awkward to do a 2-minute exercise.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recommend the audio book or hard copy? Do you find that one is better than the other? The heart breath connection, I think it's called.
I tell people the way some of my best teachers told me, get whatever book will get the information in you. If it's audio, fine. If it's hard copy, fine. I know some people who like a hardcover versus a soft cover, and that's important to them. But any version that will get the information in you is the way. I am a fundamental visual and audible learner. So when I'm learning something, I get the book in front of me as well as I listen to the audio as I go through the pages. I'm listening to the person reading while I'm looking at the words on the page, because that reminds me of being in school and listening to the teacher lecturing. And that way activates my memory and allows me to remember better. But whatever works for you is the key phrase.
Okay, thank you.
And yet, Ed, I think I answered your question about the 2 groups. Again, we prefer, if you're going to be doing the heart breath practice of the 10 weeks, we prefer you to get it all in one session. Because what you will find once you have honed the practice of the heart breath, and you've done the 10-week process, you will find that you are literally one breath away from lowering your heart rate and separating yourself from the foolishness that you encounter. So once you have the practice in you, as foolishness appears, you can literally inhale for four breaths, and before that sixth breath exhale is done, you've already released and stopped attaching to the drama that was starting to trigger you. So that would be one way of handling it. All right. So I think I see a hand up.
Me, yeah. So just to kind of recap the YouTube video that you listed on there, it's a guide to help with that with the exercise of breathing. Is that what it is?
Nope. So your breath, and here is your exercise. Going back to our homework example, the homework is to breathe for 2 minutes, being conscious, sitting down and consciously focused on your breath, and inhaling for the count of four. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, 6 out. Okay.
That's your homework. The YouTube video is literally just a 2-minute timer.
Okay. And do that
So
for 2 minutes.
I personally, use my Apple Watch, and I actually use the Breathe app on my Apple Watch, and I have it set for my specific time. And then as the flower gets bigger, I inhale for 4 breaths. I start exhaling before the flower gets fully big, because the Apple Watch is geared to an equal inhale and exhale. But again, the heart breath is a 40-60 breath. It's inhaling for 40% of the time and exhaling for 66% of the time.
So
And we have a question in the chat. Do you agree that the practice works in most stressful situations? It works in almost all stressful situations, because what it's doing is putting you in balance, right? It's not activating your fight or flight syndrome in either way. It's allowing you to literally be just chill. So some of the benefits that are touted in the heart breath mind are, in addition to the mind chatter, they go into potential medical benefits. So I personally didn't talk about them because I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV. But in the Heart Breath Mind book, written by a doctor, she talks about there are potential benefits in blood pressure, therefore hypertension, GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, as well as regular anxiety issues. And as soon as I said GI, I remembered that I left something out in this presentation. So we want to pause real quick. And I know most of the people on this call are adults, but I wanted to remind you, because I'm not teaching you anything, I wanted to remind you how to breathe. So many of us, when we breathe, if your hand was on the chest, you would see your hand going up and down, right? Because you are breathing in your chest. Well, that is not the way that we want to breathe. We would like this breath to be with your belly. Call it the belly breath, or breathing with your diaphragm. So the inhale, you would see your stomach get big. It would be like that big old Buddha stomach. And the exhale, your stomach would contract. So during your inhale and exhale, we would want you to put your hand on your stomach and your hand on the chest. And your chest should not be moving in this breath pattern. So this is all about the opening of your stomach with your diaphragm for a full inhale, and an exhale with the diaphragm. And it's that diaphragmatic breathing that helps give you an internal massage throughout your entire colon, which then reduces your GI issues. Also, as you breathe with your diaphragm, you're releasing pressure on your chest because as you've been breathing in your chest all day, I'm sorry, your chest is kind of sore because it's not meant to have all the breath up here. And then everything gets kind of pushed up in the chest because you're breathing out your chest. And that's the anxiety, right? There's physical anxiety with breathing in your chest because that's more of a panting in nature because something dramatic is going on. The only thing dramatic is you're not breathing with your belly. So as we learn to breathe with our belly, reduce the chest breathing, that reduces physical anxiety, also creates a little massage action for your GI tract, which helps your GI issues. And then by relieving the pressure that's pushing on your heart, also the other physical reason of a potential reduction in blood pressure because there's less constriction within the heart valves. So those would be your potential three medical benefits. And yes, it would even help with not just the dentist chair, but we call it the white coat syndrome, where some people, when they see a medical professional, they immediately start breathing in their chest and all anxiety captures right there. By separating the breath back down to the diaphragm, again, that releases that tension in your chest, releases that anxiety, and allows you to receive what's getting ready to happen without that extra stress and drama. So going back to the homework, that 4 belly breath in, 6 belly breath out for 2 minutes while you're sitting, and then doing that on a regular practice, because again, it's about the practice. It's not about an event. Doing belly breathing for one day, every other week may not produce the kind of results that doing belly breathing every day would produce. It's very similar to any kind of physical exercise that you would do. A 3-mile run once a year would not be suggested by any medical professional, but a casual jog every other day, most medical professionals would say that would be more beneficial than one 5K a year where you hurt yourself. So we're suggesting daily practice here, 20 minutes a day for 10 weeks if you follow the heart, breath, mind concept. But if your practice is 7 minutes a day for 7 days a week, that is wonderful because you have a practice.
So would you say that this practice is best, the practice of breathing that you just described is best done in a sitting position?
So the starting practice, we suggest sitting, but with all seriousness and no sarcasm, the practice of breathing is suggested at all times. So we highly suggest that you belly breathe 24 hours a day. If you look at a baby breathes with their belly at all times, whether they're sleeping, whether they're walking, whether they're talking or mumbling around, whether they're crawling on the floor, you will see a baby breathing with their belly. It's only when they get older and learn our dysfunction that they start breathing with their chest. So this is where we say we need to unlearn our bad habits and relearn our natural breath, which had always been breathing from the belly. So focus on the belly breathing, and eventually by this practice, you can eventually belly breathe 24/7. As you're doing anything and everything, you could still be belly breathing. You might not do the inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 6 because it's not always appropriate to have heart breath resonance or having, that 6 breaths per minute, but you can still breathe with your belly and get more airflow in because the whole purpose of the breath is to put oxygen into your bloodstream, right? That's why we're breathing. So if you're doing shallow breaths into your chest, you're minimizing the oxygen content in your blood. The whole point of breathing was to get oxygen in your blood. So by breathing with your belly, it allows for that good oxygen CO2 interchange where you can maximize your oxygen intake as well as maximize your CO2 release. So therefore, your body is fully fueled and powered, right? So having a good fuel mix or an optimal fuel mix is why some cars go faster than others and why some runners run faster than others, some swimmers swim longer or faster than others, because they have a better oxygen CO2 mix happening, because that is literally the breath of life, right? So get more breath in and therefore live better, live longer, live faster, quicker, better in the scenario. So with that, we're down to I went 3 minutes over what I said I was going to talk, so I apologize. So I want to give you 10 minutes back that when you get off this call, you you have 10 minutes that you had reserved. So leave this call and hang out where you are for 10 minutes and take a chance to do your first 2 minute belly breath, heart breath practice. So I invite you to practice that. So with that, are there any other questions before we say farewell?
No, but thank you very much. It was very good.
All right, seeing as we have no other questions. Yes, sir. Did I hear someone say
Will there
something?
be additional sessions like this?
There will be additional sessions like this. We will do this session again. And then once we get enough people through this session, we'll start going to different types of breathing. There's a good 4 different breathing practices that I believe, are highly effective. The heart breath is the core of breathing practices, right? So we want to get the heart breath down. Remember, 4 inhale, 6 exhale, while seating. And the reason why we're seating in this particular heart breath, the reason why we're seated is we're trying to get a resting heart rate. The reason why we don't want to lie down is because by the 3rd breath, some of you may be asleep. For those of you who have a hard time sleeping, I invite you to practice the heart breath while you're laying in bed. Inhaling for 4, lay on your back. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6 breaths. Do that for 7 minutes and see if you don't make it to 3. Most of you will find that you'll roll over by the 3rd breath and go to bed. We recorded this session. There's a question, will you have access to the video? I know we're recording this, so we'll at least have access to the audio. I don't know about our, if you will, the bandwidth on our recording, but you will have access to the PowerPoint. I'm sure the team, Chelsea, we're planning to send that out to everyone, or how are you going to get that to everybody?
Yes, we can share it with everyone.
So we will at least share the PowerPoint, and then if we're able to share the recording, we will figure out how to post that on our website, and then we'll send you the email to the link as opposed to sending you a big file through the email system. The YouTube video that is listed is embedded in the PowerPoint. So when you get the PowerPoint, you'll be able to click on the YouTube video as well as all the resources. So you'll have your resources as well as the YouTube video embedded in the PowerPoint. And you guys just met our maintenance staff here at Broward County Public Schools coming to check on my trash can at 4:50. So good job in terms of maintenance. All right. I think we have it all. Cool. So with that, go practice, practice, practice. It's not a practice, it is your practice. So you do the practice, you reap the benefits, and then you can share the rewards with others. But if you don't practice and don't have any rewards, it's difficult to share. All right. With that, if anyone ever needs to reach me, you can always reach me here at Broward County Public Schools. There's links in the PowerPoint on how to get in touch with us, the resources section. And then obviously, if you need to get in touch with me, you can always just email me at robert.ballou, that's B as in Baker, ALLOU, at browardschools.com. And or you can send an email to either certification, contract compliance, and or outreach listed on your screen here, and they will find me. And again, our goal is to post what we can post in terms of these webinars on browardschools.com/EDDC. So more to come in terms of the resources that we will be posting on the website. So if you haven't been to our webpage, please look at it and avail yourself of the information there as well. So with that, I will bid you all a fond farewell. Enjoy your breathing practice and have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.